Welcome in. It's A to Z Sports Prime Time here on a Tuesday evening. It is September 10th, and the Tennessee Titans are 0-1. They drop the season opener on Sunday afternoon to the Chicago Bears in pretty devastating fashion. A final score of 24-17. The Titans fall after leading 17-0. Sam Phelan in here today for Buck Rising. I'll be here with you guys every Tuesday night throughout the 2024 NFL season. So you're stuck with me. You're especially stuck with me this week because I've been battling with many of you throughout the week about my expectations for Titans at Bears in week one. And here we are. The Titans are sitting at 0-1. Now, this game played out in a way that I don't think anybody was really all that ready for. And potentially, you can make an argument either way. Best case scenario in a loss for the Titans or worst case scenario for a loss for the Titans. I'm going to explain that. We're going to get into it because I think Titans fans everywhere need a bit of a reality check after week one. I'm going to go through kind of 3 points that I feel are really being under discussed and not brought up enough when talking about this Titans team and this week one loss. Going to go over that. Going to go preview a week two opponent in the New York Jets who kind of laid a stinker on Monday Night Football against the San Francisco 49ers. Break down what's going on in New York. Are the Jets, as good as we thought, or is this a winnable game for the Titans? It's going to be a great show this evening. So appreciate you guys joining me here. Before we get into it, make sure you guys share the show. So if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead, hit that share button in the bottom right corner. If you're watching on YouTube, take that YouTube link, spread the love. Let them know that Sam's live with A to Z Sports Primetime, giving Titans fans a dose of reality. Twitch, Twitter, wherever you're joining me this evening, make sure you share the show and get the word out there. But let's go ahead and let's do it officially here. Welcome into A to Z Sports Primetime. I am not in the Zen Sports studio tonight, and I am not your host, Buck Rising. I'm your host, Sam Phelan, with you Tuesday nights from now through the end of the 2024 NFL season. And as always, presented and proud to be presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more information. Zen Sports is your place to bet this NFL season. And if you're looking to back the Titans in week two, go to Zen Sports and use the promo code ATOZTN in the Zen Sports app. And if you are in need of a new workout program, TrueMav Fitness is the place for you to go. No workout is ever recycled or repeated at TrueMav. So go to TrueMavFitness.com for more information. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into what the chat is saying off the bat. I know a lot of people probably have a few things to say to me after the Bears beat the Titans. As we all know, hey, I grew up in Chicago, and I tried to tell everybody about what the Bears were going to bring to the table for this Titans team. The Titans, as I predicted, not really great in the passing volume side of things. I think a lot of Titans fans pleasantly surprised by the performance of running back Tony Pollard, at least in the first half of the ball game. Very surprised and very happy with what the defense did. But offensively, horrible game for Will Levis. Horrible game for the Titans offense and for play caller Brian Callahan and his head coaching debut. So where did the Titans go from here? What if this is correctable? Got a couple of points here, though, that I believe are being under discussed because rightfully so. A lot of you out there are disgusted with your football team, are disgusted with what you saw in week one. You are fed up. Many people are saying they're done with Will Levis in week one. And I'm here to be the voice of reason. I'm here to talk to you guys off the ledge a little bit and let you know it's all going to be okay. It really, really will. I really believe that as I sit here with you with an 0-1 Titans team. And I will continue to believe that until I see otherwise. And so let's go ahead and get into it. Reality check. Number one that I got to tell you all right now, weird things happen in week one. We saw it around the league with only 2 passers around the National Football League going over 300 yards. Passing was down. Caleb Williams with an even worse, in some ways, performance than Will Levis in this very game. But all across the league, you saw stat lines that were like 120 yards and 1 touchdown, maybe an interception, 140 yards, 150 yards. Good quarterbacks, proven NFL quarterbacks, struggled in week 1 of the season. And so I think we need to contextualize that for a minute, realize that, hey, Will was bad. The Titans offense was bad. And that does not mean that they are going to be bad for the entire season, because we saw league-wide just how kind of out of sync offenses looked. It felt like NFL offenses were rusty on Sunday. And, especially an offense that has had a lot of moving pieces, a brand new offensive line, some new weapons with Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd, a number 1 wide receiver that was out in DeAndre Hopkins, a first-time play caller in Brian Callahan. It makes sense that the Titans struggled on offense. Does it suck that they were in a position to win a football game and go up, go to 1-0 on the season, and they choked it away? They especially choked it away because of poor decisions their quarterback made down the stretch. Absolutely. I feel your pain. I understand why you guys are frustrated and have a bad taste in your mouth, right? The thing about NFL fandom is that when your team loses on Sundays, even in miserable, horrible fashion, it leaves a taste in your mouth that you just can't get over for the entire week. Titans fans everywhere are itching for redemption this next Sunday to get this over with, but you have to live with it for now. But I want to tell you, this happens all the time. You can look back at those very same Chicago Bears just 2 years ago with Justin Fields at quarterback, a Bears team that was the worst team in the NFL, finished 3-14 on the season. They beat the San Francisco 49ers in week 1 in a game that both offenses looked like crap. So this kind of thing happens. Bad teams win early in the season. Everybody's trying to get their sea legs a little bit. And let's not jump to conclusions about Will Levis, about the Titans, about Brian Callahan as a play caller off of just one game. That's point number 1 for this reality check. Reality check number 2 that I think a lot of Titans fans would be wise to hear here on this Tuesday evening. The Titans' problems on Sunday, a lot more than just Will Levis. Go a lot deeper than just Will Levis. I did not believe Will Levis. You could make an argument he wasn't even the primary concern. Was he bad in the game? Yeah, absolutely. You got to protect the football. You got to make better decisions. But let's not ignore the fact that I believe the Titans set up Will Levis to fail in many ways in this game. I was not a fan of the play calling from Brian Callahan. I think the offensive line, specifically the pass protection for the Titans, let Will Levis down at multiple times throughout this game. Will Levis was the second most pressured quarterback in football in week 1. So for all of this hype over the entire offseason about the offensive line, about the changes that were being made to protect your quarterback, he was still the second most pressured guy. He performed very poorly. I want to say it was 4 for 11 with 2 interceptions on passes in which he was pressured. You'd like to see your guy play better, but he's also under a lot of fire. Brian Callahan talked about one thing that I think is concerning about Will Levis, which is the reversion of some of his techniques and habits. But another side of it, on some things Will did well, and the Titans let him down.
There's a couple of times, where he didn't need the drift in the pocket. And those are things that you don't see until it's live. And everything in training camp looked good, solid. He was playing well, playing with confidence, and his footwork was exactly what we were looking for. And then in the game, some things kind of reverted back. I think that's kind of true across most of the positions, especially our younger players. We had some technique reversions and some things that just didn't show up the way they had shown up in practice. And that part was that was the disappointing part for me, was just to see some of those things that we think we've gotten fixed that showed up again in a game situation. So that part was again, disappointing.
How do you coach reversion out of a young player, especially with Will, when you say it's tough to see progress? Mm-hmm. Just how do you figure out how to take somebody who the book on him might be, he makes these mental mistakes, and fix that?
Keep coaching. We coach every day, and there's no shortcut to that. And this was the first time I've gotten to see Will in a game environment. The thing that I was really encouraged about with Will on the sideline is that his resiliency, his demeanor, his ability to see and communicate what he was seeing was really, really positive. So that left me really encouraged in terms of our game day operation. And then we just got to clean up. He's got to get comfortable playing football again. I mean, he was under a little bit of duress, and that certainly has an effect. Took a couple of hits in the pocket, and again, that's quarterbacking in the NFL. You're going to get hit. It happens. We can be better in our protection and make him feel a little more comfort back there. But yeah, he's also got to see where he can improve his spots, and that's all you do is you just keep coaching it, and every time you go out there and play, you hope that it gets better.
So that's Titans head coach Brian Callahan. One thing I think kind of concerning in there is when your head coach is saying that the quarterback reverted to old bad habits in a game that the Titans coaching staff has been coaching out of him throughout the preseason and training camp. That's definitely not what you want Will Levis's development, where you want his development to be at this point. You hope, as Callie said, right, you keep coaching him. You hope it kind of comes back to what you've seen from him thus far on the practice field, and that's able to be applied in games. But, you know, the Titans head coach does also acknowledge pressure a factor in this game, and they could have been better and should have been better at protecting Will Levis to make him feel more comfortable. Chef Rand says, bruh, come on, if your QB implodes, it doesn't matter what else happens. But, you know, and I agree with you to some extent, but we also were trying to get to the why of your QB imploding. Why does a quarterback who showed so many positive flashes, had so many productive games as a rookie, come out to start his sophomore season and appear to have regressed in his debut? Like, there needs to be a why behind that other than Will Levis just can't do it, because we've seen that Will Levis can do it. And the hope with Brian Callahan and the moves that you made over the offseason were that you were setting him up to be able to do it more consistently. But as William Jones says, the offensive line does not make him make that unnecessary throw to try and get the ball out of bounds. And as Callie says there, you know, it's all about discernment and Will just needing to learn when not to make that, when not to force it, right? When to let it come naturally to him. So the reason that I kind of go into all of this is because if you are a Titans fan right now, if you are out on Will Levis, I think you need to pump the brakes a little bit. I think we need to put this into perspective and realize that this was one game for a young quarterback who has only now started 10 games in his NFL career. There are going to be some growing pains with it. And I also kind of have to say, I didn't love the play calling that the Titans ran in week one. And I have not loved Brian Callahan's approach to Will Levis and his passing game. I'll show you this real quick. This is a quick look at Will Levis's passing chart from week one. And I just want everybody to note the number of passes behind the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. And in case you're curious, it is exactly half of Will Levis's passes thrown behind the line of scrimmage or within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. For a guy who has made so many positive plays with his arm talent, throwing the ball deep down the field, taking shots, is comfortable letting it rip. Brian Callahan has said an awful lot of high percentage looks as what he's looking for from Will Levis. Well, we saw throughout a majority of the game, Will Levis was well over 60% passing. They were getting high percentage looks that weren't going anywhere. And when you have a Bears team that tackles very well, triggers very well against the run, you're going to have to take some shots. And so Will Levis, so far from perfect in this game. He was bad in this game, and he absolutely needs to be better if the Titans have a chance of going anywhere. But Brian Callahan can be better too, and this offensive line can sure make Will Levis a little bit more comfortable so that he can perform at his best more consistently. The third note that I do believe needs to be talked about this team, which will lead into our first question of the evening, is how good this Titans defense was, because the Bears put up 24 points. 21 of those points were a result of Chicago Bears defense or special teams plays. A kick return that set up a field goal, a strip sack that set up a field goal, and then 2 touchdowns, one a blocked punt return for a touchdown, and a pick six followed by a 2-point conversion. That's 21 plays for the Chicago Bears. They became the first team in NFL history to win a game after trailing by 17 and having less than 150 yards of total offense. It's really remarkable. It makes the loss sting that much more. But if you ask Titans defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons, you have to feel pretty good about this defensive effort and where the Titans can build on this moving forward.
Taylor, two halves for you guys. Obviously, not the way you wanted it to end, but you feel good about some of the defensive effort and give you guys something to build off of moving forward.
Feel great. I feel great. It's frustrating to lose, but I'm motivated. The way we played on defense is what we expected. We came in this game with a lot of confidence, especially up front. And pretty much the whole defense. Our message was, make him earn his stripes, and we did. They scored a total of 11 points. We got 3 field goals. When they got down there, that's our job, make them kick field goals. I think communication just got to be better on the 2-point conversion, but we played lights out on defense. We did a hell of a job. Something we could build off of. Not worried about our offense either. So you guys ask, they're going to clean their stuff up, and even special team, like we talked about, it's just the small things. And one thing about it, like I told the team, it don't stop week one. We're going to keep building. We're going to stay together no matter what, and we're going to learn off this. So.
Jeff, what's going through your mind as that game just starts to salt away, that 17-0 lead and 17-3 and so on and so forth?
What's going through my mind is step on their neck and not let them get no air. That's kind of the motto. When you up on a team, you can't relax. We have to just keep our foot on the gas. I think, especially with the turnovers in the second half, that kind of hurt us at the end of the day. We talk about it as a team, and as a defense, we didn't have not one turnover. So to help our offense, especially in the second half, when teams start getting momentum, we got to find a way to get the ball. And I think that's what it is, man. They had 3 or 4 turnovers, and we had 0. And that's one of the things, the way you win games is turnovers. And we didn't have one. So I think at the end of the day, we have to find a way to get the ball.
So Big Jeff saying the Titans defense needs to find a way to get the ball. But hey, the Titans are number 1 in the NFL in total defense after week 1. And the Titans, Pro Bowl defensive tackle there saying, he feels good about the effort, feels like it's something to build off of, and not worried about the offense. Simmons expressing a lot of confidence that Will Levis, that Brian Callahan, this group will get right. A healthy DeAndre Hopkins probably helps this group get right. And so it kind of got me thinking a little bit about our first question of the show today. And I want to ask all of you this. Do you buy or sell the idea the Titans' defensive dominance was more important than the offensive woes in week 1? The idea that, hey, the offense is going to correct itself, but this defense was a question mark. This defense, we didn't know, what they were going to look like with all the new faces in this group, with all the people coming in. You can make the argument that the Titans showing a dominant defense against a very good Bears offense is more important to the grand scheme of the season than the Titans' offensive woes. So do you buy or sell that idea? Go ahead, let me know in the chat. Pour your answers in. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to remind you all that Primetime tonight is brought to you by our friends over at Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. I'm all over Nashville, and everywhere I go, I see Ford Broncos all over the road. They're all kind of different: soft tops, hard tops, Big Bend, Raptors, smaller Bronco Sports. So many options, so many colors, so many different packages and trim levels, and that's why Two Rivers Ford invites you to get to know the Ford Bronco. It's an open invite. You don't need to be in the market for a vehicle to go check it out. The Two Rivers Ford team is a team of Bronco experts on hand to introduce you to the Bronco, answer your questions, let you test drive, show you on and off-road capabilities, the technology, accessories, etc. And remember, these guys are not working for commission. They're just here to educate you. It's one of the reasons people love doing business with Two Rivers Ford and why they are the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Two Rivers Ford is your Ford Bronco headquarters. More information at tworiversford.com or Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet. All right, let's see what you guys are thinking here. I asked you, buy or sell the idea that a dominant Titans defense in week 1 against a good Bears offense, more important to the season than offensive woes. Lewis is in here. He's saying he's selling. Darren is selling. Pistol Ramsey and Bork both coming in and buying that idea. Sell. It still led to a loss, says Titans Kyle. Did the defense lead to a loss, Titans Kyle? Or did bad offense lead to a loss? Because you could have a bad offense and not have your special teams allow 7 points and a pick 6 allow 8 points, and your good defense could lead you to a win. I might push back on that idea a little bit. Curtis is buying. Major Keys is buying. Jonathan is buying. We got a sell from American Toff, says the offense has been extremely worried or worrisome. He knew the defense would be good. Derek says sell because it's an offensive league right now. That is true, although it was not true of NFL teams on Sunday. Eric's buying. Another Eric is buying. Stevie's buying. Torin is buying. Lucas is buying. So got a good number of people buying here. B French is going to sell times 3. And Mike says selling. We can't even score 30, which, we have not seen the Titans do in a regular season game in quite some time. I brought this up because I'm buying this idea. I really am buying this idea. Maybe it's confidence in Will Levis. Maybe it's confidence in Brian Callahan. Maybe it's me buying in to the NFL offensive struggles as a whole of just believing the Titans offense is going to be okay. And by okay, I mean better. Like it will come back to the mean. Maybe this isn't the dominant offense we first hoped for when Brian Callahan first took the job. Maybe it can get there eventually, and that's not what they are in 2024. But I do believe this Titans offense is not going to continue being a problem throughout the 2024 regular season. I believe they will play well enough to win. And if the Titans defense is as dominant as they were on Sunday throughout the season, if they can actually be a top 10, top 5 unit in the league, you're going to have a good football team. Like when you start to go and play some of these younger quarterbacks, if you get Drake May in New England, if you get Jaden Daniels in Washington, like you got Caleb Williams here against the Bears, heck, I could see Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud getting a little bit rattled by Denard Wilson's aggressive style of defense. I believed in Denard Wilson. Didn't know if I believed that all these pieces would come together and click, especially with some of the injuries we've seen defensively. So I do believe the success of the Titans defense right now means more to me than one bad game on offense, because look around the league, folks. It's happening everywhere. One place it happened, New York, and the New York Jets, who really struggled on Monday Night Football. I want to talk a little bit about what I saw from the Jets on Monday night, where their strengths or weaknesses lie, where they maybe didn't live up to expectations, and why it might be a better game for the Titans, a better matchup for the Titans than we once thought. So that coming up here in a little bit, but a reminder to all of you that Primetime is brought to you by Gary Ashton Real Estate. Gary is the official realtor of the Nashville Predators. You don't sell without the intel. Get your dream address without the stress. It's the intel that you need to succeed with the official realtor of the Nashville Predators. Visit GaryAshton.com. Okay, let's talk New York Jets on Monday Night Football. They lose to the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, a highly anticipated game. People looking forward to seeing Aaron Rodgers. People hoping that, hey, maybe he stays healthy. And the Jets are Super Bowl contenders. I heard Super Bowl contenders being floated around for the Jets before the season. Did not look like it on Monday Night Football. They, frankly looked very, very far from it, both offensively and defensively. And yeah, defense was not good. This Jets defense was one of the things that was hyped up so much about this team was, look how good the Jets defense is going to be. They got absolutely torched by San Francisco. Granted, it is the 49ers, but no Christian McCaffrey for San Francisco. Brandon Ayuk didn't do much of anything. In fact, he dropped the touchdown pass. It was guys like Kyle Juszczyk and Jawan Jennings and Jordan Mason, running back, that, ended up destroying the Jets defense. Niners running back Jordan Mason ran for 147 yards on 28 carries, also added a touchdown. Aaron Rodgers and the offense for the Jets. Rodgers goes 13 for 21, 167 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Rodgers had 8 possessions in this game, not including like a kneel down, I believe, to end the first half, but 8 possessions over this game. 5 of those 8 drives, the Jets ran 3 offensive plays or less. They had two touchdown drives, I believe a turnover on downs, and then 5 drives that it was 3 plays or less, either a 3 and out or a turnover right away. So pretty pathetic effort from Rodgers and the Jets offense. Everybody was freaking out and loving him up after 1 good touchdown drive, and it very quickly settled into a bunch of mediocrity. So offense didn't look all that great. Defense got ran over. They got dominated in the time of possession, with San Francisco having the ball for nearly 39 minutes. And what did we see from the Titans offense in Chicago? That they're at their best when they're running the football well. The Titans had back-to-back touchdown drives when Tony Pollard was in a groove and running the ball with a ton of success. He had like 7 carries for 50-something yards and a touchdown in the first quarter. They were really starting to get the job done on offense, which then set up a nice drive for Will Levis to find Chigakonkwo in the end zone through the air. And based on what I saw from the Jets defense, you might be able to be a little bit more confident that the Titans can run the ball and, help Will Levis have a little bit more comfort. The weird thing, too, that I didn't really address earlier about the Titans offense, in the second half, when Will was starting to struggle, when the offense wasn't gaining momentum, they were behind the sticks at a rate that is way, way, way too high. 6 of their first 9 offensive snaps of the second half were from behind the sticks, more than 10 yards to go when the Titans were snapping the ball. Brian Callahan talked about that in his post-game press conference as being something that didn't really allow him to get in a rhythm as a play caller. When he was in a rhythm, it was because Tony Pollard and the Titans offense were running the ball and setting you up in a 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3, not really even getting to 3rd down, given how poorly the Titans performed on 3rd down throughout the game. So the Jets defense gets run over by Jordan Mason. The Titans now hosting the Jets for week 2 and for their home opener, looking to right the ship and correct things. They're going to need to run the ball. And that brings me to my question. How confident are you that the Titans can turn things around in week 2 after watching what the Jets did on Monday Night Football? We're going to go 1 through 10 here, but how confident are you that the Titans can turn things around in week 2 after watching the Jets on Monday Night Football? Hit me with your answers there. Let's actually just see what's coming in right now, because Major Keys is saying he's a 5 out of 10. I see a 5 from Bobby Carter. I see an 8 from Chris. I see a 7 from, another Chris here, 3 from Curtis C, a 4.9 from Lewis, and a 7 from Billy Jones, a 5.5 from Craig Baxter, a 3 out of Eric Alonso, a 6 from B-Birds. Let's see what else. We got 5, 7, 5, 4.8, 9, 7, a full 10 from Zach Geringer. Believes the Titans are going to put on a show in the home opener. Derek says the 49ers are an elite offense. We are not close. And, that is a big factor here as well. Yes, it's Jordan Mason, but it is, Kyle Shanahan and the San Francisco 49ers, a team that just seemed to be a well-oiled machine on offense. We got 6, 6, 0, 6, 5, 7, 4, 7.5. I'm going to come in at a solid 6 here. Where would I have been before I saw the Jets? Maybe close to a 3 or a 4, because I was looking in the mirror at the Titans schedule and saying, week 1 against the Bears, then you kind of have a bit of a gauntlet. The Jets are a really good football team with Super Bowl aspirations. The Dolphins are explosive on offense. Green Bay was expecting to be in the playoffs before Jordan Love went down. This early schedule, as I have been saying over and over and over again, is the hardest period of games for the Titans. I mean, weeks 1 through 8, you play you play 7 teams that all would like to be in the playoffs. Will they all be in the playoffs? No, they all kind of have their hopes and dreams set on that. It gets easier in the middle. Really, I think the Titans are going to get hot in that stretch. New England, the Chargers, the Vikings, Washington, Jacksonville. I think all of those are very winnable games for Tennessee, but you got to get through this gauntlet early on. And I'm more encouraged now than I was before after watching Jordan Love go down. This idea that you might be getting Malik Willis coming back to Nashville in week 3. But this idea as well that maybe Aaron Rodgers and the Jets aren't all they were hyped up to be. Maybe Aaron Rodgers and the Jets are just not as good, and you can kind of figure it out and surprise some people in week 2. Curious to see what that line is in that game. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I would not be surprised if we saw a big correction from Brian Callahan, from Will Levis, and from this Titans offense. So maybe around a 3, but bumped up to a 6 now that I saw the Jets also stink it up in week 1. All right, we're going to wrap it up here with Gone Viral. Going to show you the best thing I saw on the internet this weekend. And if you know me, it won't be a surprise to any of you. Before we do that, I'm going to tell you all about TrueMav Fitness. They're helping power tonight's primetime show, TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. Go to TrueMavFitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workouts ever recycled or repeated. They've got personal training, group fitness classes, and memberships that also offer an open gym at TrueMavFitness.com. TrueMav Fitness in the Gulch. All right. Listen, this is the best thing I saw online. I think this is so true to my personality. And Patrick wants to know, am I taking over primetime? On Tuesdays. I'll be here on Tuesdays with you guys from now on. So, yeah, if you want a little bit more Sam, come check out Tuesday nights here on A to Z Sports Primetime. I'm with you all throughout the season as Buck gets a nice and much-deserved night off. This is the best thing I saw on the internet. Enjoy it in all of its glory, and don't be afraid to shed a tear if it makes you just a little bit emotional on a Tuesday.
You wore this jersey. It's deep for you. Why?
I'm so proud of our kids, the coaches, just everybody. They believed. They believed. And we came here and got it done.
You told your guys this week that you didn't need anyone to be a superhero or superhuman. They just needed to be their best. What kind of performances did you see out there?
They listened to what I said. I told them all week, we don't need luck. We just got to be our best. And they was their best today, and we was able to get it done.
Where's this emotion coming from for you?
All these guys that have been with our program, been through the ups and downs, and to continue to fight, it's like they my kids. I'm happy for the adversity, to push through, no matter the situation. I just couldn't be more proud. I'm sorry.
No need to be sorry. Boneyard wins is what you call it when you all beat a top 5 opponent, a power 5 opponent. There was 70,000 people in here that probably didn't believe. Why did you all believe?
We got a veteran team, a bunch of guys that have been through a lot of different things, and they work together. Like we still are in college football. I know it's a whole bunch of other things with the transfer portal and NIL. We still have a family, and they believe in that family and doing things the right way. And I couldn't be more proud of them.
That is Northern Illinois Huskies head coach Thomas Hammock. An emotional video, even for me. Like, if you know me, right, you know that I was raised on 2 principles when it comes to college football: screw Notre Dame and go Huskies. So, very cool. I got to be back home, watch that football game with my dad. Now, my Huskies are ranked number 25 in the country. Hey, I don't know how long it's going to last, but man, does it feel good to win. The first time Northern has ever played Notre Dame, the first time a MAC program has ever beaten the top 5 team in the country, the biggest upset in Huskies history, and a great moment from head coach Thomas Hammock, who was a Husky running back himself and wore that uniform. That's what college football is all about. I really believe that's what this new era of college football is all about. You've got a 12-team playoff, and because of that, anything is freaking possible. You are going to have teams like Northern Illinois, teams like Vanderbilt, teams like Tennessee, teams like whoever, Boston College at the beginning of this year, who have legitimate playoff prospects as we currently sit here in week 3. How long do those last? Who knows? And it doesn't really matter, because college football has been needing for the longest time to give you hope to more fan bases, to keep people captivated and having something to play for. And so many more programs have something to play for now than they did last season and in the years prior. I love the direction college football is heading. I know a lot of people have not loved the conference realignment, have not loved how crazy NIL has gotten, but I really think it's a great time to be a college football fan. Look, I'm not talking, Lucas. I do not think Northern Illinois is going to make the college football playoff. But when you see a ranking next to your name in week 2, and you know all we have to do is make the top 12, it keeps a fan base engaged more than it would in a normal year where you're just like, hey, hopefully we can, qualify for the Humanitarian Bowl and do well. Like, there are 60 programs in the country right now that have a chance to make the college football playoff. I think that's a really, really good thing for the sport. As Bork says, the dream is still alive. And as long as the dream is alive, I will be watching tentatively. Football fans around the country are going to be watching tentatively. That was the best thing I saw in sports. Maybe one of the best things that happened in sports this weekend. So that's all for me tonight. Buck Rising will be back on A to Z Sports Primetime tomorrow night with all of you. Easton Freeze and Austin Stanley tomorrow on the A to Z Sports Morning Show. And I will be back at Titans camp for practice, for a press conference with Will Levis and more Titans players in the locker room about where does Tennessee go from here, preparing for week 2 against the Jets, looking to right the ship. Thanks to Bert for making it happen behind the scenes here tonight. And, we'll talk to you guys later. We'll see you.